What? Octopus? Nothing beats a shark. Fake. Fake. Holy mackerel. Enhance. Where can I find this awesome thing? Bing!
Hi everyone, I'm Matt Gash with SoundersFC.com alongside Mr. White, Arlo White, the voice of the Sounders FC, after a 2-0 win for the Sounders over Marathon in the CONCACAF Champions League, and really a feel-good night all the way around, wasn't it?
It was a super evening, I thought, and it's nice for us to have registered some points in the competition, because I think we've been a little bit unlucky. I think we've caused some of our own problems in the competition as well. I think the schedule, the fixture list, didn't really help us, and once we'd lost to Marathon in that opening game, it was always going to be an uphill battle. But to get the points, I think it saved a little bit of pride, and who knows, maybe we can affect the outcome of the group itself by beating Saprissa on the final night. But no, I really enjoyed a good open game of football last night, which I thought we thoroughly deserved to win.
Absolutely, and Mike Fucito scores 2 goals, and kind of like the Kansas City game, ends up on the sidelines right after he scores again.
Well, there's something about Mike, isn't there? And we saw it against Kansas City, and for me, the 4 goals that he's managed in all competitions, okay, 3 in a week in the Champions League, have been superbly taken. So we go back to the Kansas City game, and for me that was one of the biggest moments of the season, because it was the first big dramatic moment of the season. He comes on as a substitute, he's aware that you can't be offside from a throw-in, and he lashes a shot into Jimmy Nielsen's net against KC for the winner in stoppage time. And you think, well, this guy's got something about him. You know, he makes things happen, he buzzes around on the pitch, but when he gets into the position, it's like Blaze. He's just got this ice running through his veins, and he's just so calm in the moment. I mean, the finish last week in Monterrey in front of 20,000 was brilliant with the outside of his right foot. The first one with his left foot into the corner last night, and I was urging him, the free kick before, I just saw the goalkeeper towards the left-hand side of his goal, off his line, and I just thought with the left foot you can go round the inside of the wall into the top corner. You know, sounds easy when you're describing it. The execution is slightly more difficult. But Mike Seaman took the first free kick and actually drew a save, for I can remember, out of the keeper. But then when we got another free kick slightly closer, I was urging him on the radio call to have a go, and he did. And you know, he's maybe helped by the guy Milton Palacios ducking on the end of the wall.
You looked like me in the wall. That's like something I would do in the wall. Just get out of the way as best I could.
I mean, he was substituted soon after that, and I'm sure that was had something to do with it. But it's just for me, he's just this character that makes things happen, and I think he's going to have a really good career in this league, and hopefully with the Sounders, because you know he's got the X factor, Mike, and he's a very good technical footballer. And you know, aside from the free kick, the dead ball, he whipped in some great corners as well. Yeah, really and it's an area that we talked before about. We need to improve on that. So he's a multi-dimensional footballer, and one that could be of great service to this club. And like you say, he did get an ankle injury and had to go off. And I did text him last night to say, "You're on fire, mate." But P.S. how's the ankle? He said he should be fine, and maybe it's not as bad as Ziggy said as James Riley's the other week that caused him to miss 2 weeks. So hopefully he'll be out there. And if anybody, there's 1 or 2 that enhance their reputations in the game against Marathon, but I think nobody more than Mike Fucito. So maybe we'll see him getting minutes towards the end of the season, you know, the business end when the big games come around.
You mentioned before we started this, Alvaro Fernandez, David Estrada, a lot of bright spots in this game.
Yeah, I mean, you saw a sense and a little cameo of what Alvaro is capable of. That lovely dink over the defender and the volley, which I think was going in the near post, and it drew a good save from there. Late substitute goalkeeper that caused a bit of problem for us all last night, didn't it? They've got an interesting way of going about their business, Marathon, in many ways. But anyway, that was a sign of what Alvaro can do. Beautiful bit of skill, lovely volley, great technique. I thought David Estrada started the game really well last night on the right-hand side. He beat the fullback a couple of times. You know, he's bulked up a little bit muscle-wise. You know, he's a rookie, and chances have been few and far between. I feel a little for Miguel Montaño at the moment, because he's only 19 years old, and when something happens to you and it's kind of your fault, really, which is the Dallas red card for the reaction to Breck Shea, we haven't seen a lot of him subsequently, and that was his first start, and that was a big day for him, and I thought he did pretty well that night. That was the first game of the new era, if you like, post Ljungberg, you know, when the young guns were coming on. And I think maybe he's fallen a little bit out of favour after that red card, so his chances have been few and far between, and maybe he's lacking a bit of confidence at the moment, but he's a work in progress. He's got the skill, he's got the technique, and he just needs looking after, and he's in the right place to be looked after. So let's look for his career to develop over the next year or two, because he's certainly got the skills, and I'm going to enjoy watching him over the next couple of years.
And the last thing, the defence. that's been great for this team outside of a 4-minute stretch in Monterrey out the last few weeks. But Terry Boss, this has got to be a confidence-building game for him, particularly going into now 2 games with Puerto Rican national team.
Yeah, good for him, and congratulations, Terry, on the call-up. I mean, that's great for the Caribbean Championship. It creates an interesting situation for the Sounders at the weekend against Toronto, because there'll be a pool keeper on the bench. So let's hope, fingers crossed, that Casey continues his excellent run of form and fitness, obviously. The defence were solid, absolutely rock solid. Tyrone Marshall was magnificent in the air. I kept saying all the time, great header from Tyrone Marshall. Taylor Graham has let nobody down since coming in and filling in these games. Zach Scott, Tyson Wahl, just terrific. Left and right back. And Ziggy knows that he's got a really good squad to choose from. And there's no fear if there's a suspension or an injury at the fullback position, particularly at the moment. And Terry took a blow with an elbow, didn't he? And, like the tough guy that he is, he got back up, and that was his second shutout of the season. If you go to the LA Galaxy quarterfinal in the US Open Cup. So yeah, good night all round. A good turnout, 11,000 for a game that essentially didn't mean anything because the Sounders are already out. I thought they created a good atmosphere, so it was a thoroughly enjoyable night, and I hope we can have something similar against Saprissa in the final game, because Saprissa will be alive in the competition. They'll come, they maybe will try for a draw, maybe they'll think they need a win, so that'll be an entertaining night as well. Just those times when the pressure's off slightly in Major League Soccer, but a time that we can go and enjoy a game of football.
Yeah, it was a great atmosphere last night at the stadium. Expecting another great atmosphere Saturday against Toronto FC, but not to be outdone, Tuesday night, the U.S. Open Cup final. Big night for the Sounders FC, Sounders and Columbus Crew. But 2 games at Qwest Field over the next few days. We'll see you at the stadium. For Arlo White, I'm Matt Gashka. This has been your review.
New York, just the city I was looking for. And I can get there on the 8:15 for not bad. I should buy now. Next up, Yankees tickets. Bing.